Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the My High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And this episode is sponsored by Gray Fox Games. So thank them for supporting the show and bringing you this wonderful board game-filled episode.
Whether they like it or not.
So many board games that we talk about, right, Zach?
I just saw you winking at me, and they can't tell that you were winking at me sarcastically. Don't worry, I won't tell them.
Okay. What have you guys been up to besides watching the Avengers?
I was watching all of the movies before the Avengers.
You watched all 19 movies.
I've watched all the 19 movies in the span of a Tuesday to a Sunday.
Because you're insane.
Yeah.
And,
how are you not dead?
I mean, I was happy to not have to see a Marvel movie today.
And the Incredible Hulk still your favorite?
Nope, still the worst.
Still the worst. Okay.
I had a running total, and so obviously after Iron Man, it's just like, well, that's obviously the worst one because that's the only one there. And then
best and worst.
Best and worst, and then Incredible Hulk came out, and there's like, now we can actually have a rating system, and then that stayed at the bottom, and it always stayed at the bottom every time, because I would rewrite it every time, and it was just like, all right, well, I'm going to move it back down, and I'm going to keep moving it down, and get moving down.
Did you have any shakeups in your top 3, say?
Top 3, no, but I did enjoy Iron Man 2 more than I remembered.
Okay.
And Avengers 2 as well.
Okay.
The Age of Ultron?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't watched Iron Man 2 in a very long time, but I've liked all of the actual Avengers movies, including the newest one. I loved it. That's all I'm going to really say about it. But the Avengers movies are 3 for 3.
I'm just going to start spoiling shit. Just boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Captain America, 3 for 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like the first one, but it's not. For me, it's solid B. I think it's in my bottom 5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? No, you're crazy. So what else is in the bottom 5? So Hulk.
Yeah.
The Captain America First Avenger.
Well, so it'd be. I think it was Hulk, Thor 2, Thor. I don't even remember. It's just a blur.
You should have brought the list, man.
It's on a dry erase board. So
it's physically written down somewhere. Interesting.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3?
Iron Man 3 is like number 6 or 7 for me.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems to be the one that everyone shit on.
I really liked it.
I did not care for that one as much.
But I also like Shane Black's style of doing stuff.
Okay. I like the part where they fought all of the robots in the second one, and he cut them all in half.
Yeah.
The big laser thing.
Yep.
That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, so we all watched Avengers. It was good. We all liked it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say.
Stakes. There are now stakes.
Yes, the stakes have been
set.
Yeah. Surprising amount of humor.
Yeah.
As is tradition.
I mean, it's like I feel like the Russo brothers do a really good job at doing that because they did both the Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Civil War.
Yeah.
And they have they do a good job of balancing the two. But really, I really like this movie, but it has a big asterisk on it because whatever 4, Avengers 4, I think however that resolves will ultimately inform my opinion of this one.
Yes, since they're basically part 1 and part 2,
mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So,
which they did change the name. It's not going to be called Part 2 anymore.
No, but it's Avengers 4, but it's going to resolve the stuff that happened at the end of this one.
Yes, hopefully.
Right.
I mean, yes. Yeah. They just decided they're like, we're done with that. Let's just do something else now.
Just like
they're
Logan.
like, well, that's the way that movie ended. We're just going to pick up from there, and that's where we're going to go. So,
yep.
They're still going to make more X-Men movies, but the end of the X-Men has already happened.
Oh, Apocalypse?
No.
Oh.
Logan.
Oh, Logan. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's in an alternate timeline now.
I don't think that was the gist from that movie.
I know they're doing a Dark Phoenix one.
With Sophie Turner.
Yes, with Sophie Turner. That'll be
they're all
after Apocalypse.
They're all part of the first class.
Yes. So I'm saying that's still going.
Is it which one's Xavier? Is it Stewart or McAvoy?
Yes. So the McAvoy one is the timeline that they're continuing in, and Logan didn't take place. I don't believe in that one. Logan definitely took place in. Stewart.
Yeah. I don't think they've ever said this takes place in a different timeline.
It just takes place after
Days of Future Past.
after all of these movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I thought I read somewhere that it was definitely in one of the timelines that has been left behind and closed off.
I don't know. Well,
that the
you know what? To be
first-class
fair,
timeline
after
was
Disney
different.
owns everything, they're just going to ruin
Yeah.
all of those anyways and do whatever the fuck they want.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's gonna be all new cast. Maybe they'll bring back like all the cast from 2000 and be like, these are the X-Men that are with the Avengers now. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's-
Halle Berry's Storm.
No.
God, who played Beast?
Kelsey Grammer?
Kelsey Grammer.
Yes.
Bring Kelsey Grammer back in.
I thought that was actually a good fit for
yes,
Beast.
it was a very good fit for Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, enough movie talk.
Never.
What games have you been playing? I did not say board games specifically
Yeah.
because I know we have not continuing the tradition of apparently not playing board games for the Board
Yeah.
Gaming Podcast besides the review game.
I've played a very interesting game called Pack the Apartment.
Oh,
It's a nice dexterity one, right?
Yeah.
Balance.
It's all about space management,
yeah, inventory management.
inventory management, hand management,
Real time, too, I
in
believe.
real time. My my shitty apartment management property management company just has not sent me a lease to sign, even though I've called them many times. The lease is expiring, and fuck them.
They definitely want to turn your house into some really shitty condo units.
Yes, I guarantee it. I guarantee they just want to get, because it's on a big chunk of land.
Mhm.
At worst, that house can get scraped and they still have tons of space, but I guarantee they're trying to just sell that to a developer
Yeah.
Correct.
with
And
no
they're
communication at
Gonna
all.
get a lot of money for it.
Yes.
They're just ghosting you, Jeff.
Well, I'm going to ghost them that no more rent.
Yep, there you go.
Seems legit.
Use rent for other things.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Like-
new
like-
rent.
like new rent.
Yeah.
To not them.
Mm-hmm.
So in the midst of that, then I take it you have not had time to play anything.
We played some more of The Mind at the Alamo Sunday event.
Mhm.
But we used the game to play The Mind, so there
Yep.
was no 1 or 100. That didn't stop 99 coming out like for 4 hands in one round.
Yeah.
Adrian's never allowed to shuffle again.
Oh, geez.
I mean, to be fair, I also saw 14 in my own hand for like 3 straight rounds.
Also, that can happen. That's the way odds work. You can roll 4 12s in a row on a pair of dice. Like that'll happen.
Yeah, but then if you do that, then you're like, is there something up with these dice?
Yeah, that's
It feels a bit off.
Yeah.
is something wrong.
Yeah.
Clearly, it was Adrian.
Clearly.
Yes. Yeah, I still like The Mind, and that's about all I've played at all. Like, period.
Yeah, our gaming, a lot of our gaming group has been sort of obsessed with that game.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I've got 10 minutes, so I can play this, and then like 4 games an hour and a half later, and you're like, oh, right, I should have played something else.
Correct. I wanted to play some Terraforming Mars with Megan, but we didn't get a chance to. She also got I think it's an early birthday present because her birthday's in like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But her dad sent her the whaling game that we played at Geekway last year. That I'm drawing a blank
New
on.
Bedford?
New Bedford.
Bedford.
So we got that, and she's been kind of wanting to give that a try. So hopefully there's some gaming in my future. I'll also be doing D&D this upcoming Saturday. I'm very excited about that. It's going to be a one-off campaign with Wes as the DM. It's going to be good stuff.
5th edition?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
So one off is just like, this is it.
Yeah, like
Okay.
he's going to roll some characters for us and have like a self-contained campaign to run through. Basically, we're trying to get together a D&D group.
No, yeah.
And so this is a just kind of get to know each other and get familiar with our play styles before we settle into the main campaign and the main characters and
Okay.
all of that. I don't know if this one will be tied at all into that. Like if maybe he'll roll up some adventurers where that'll be like some people that maybe we find their corpses later, or that we interact with later as NPCs. I don't know. I don't know what Wes's plan is.
Gotcha.
Were you planning on picking up some bitches in Alizé at the local inn?
No, I do not believe that will be happening.
Okay. That's classic Key and Peele.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It is a really
it's
good
great
one.
Every time I play D&D, I always want to watch that beforehand.
Might have to turn that on just to set the mood for the
Mhm.
campaign.
Yeah.
But yeah, so gaming in the future, but not a whole lot going on for me right now. The exception being, so no board gaming really, which for me, part of that has been the fact that I have been thoroughly obsessed with Subnautica. Megan picked it up last week, and I have just been 100% sucked into that world. It's really good open world exploration, resource gathering and crafting, and terrifying sea beasts that will eat your entire submarine in approximately 2 bites.
Yep. It was in Steam Early Access forever, and I bought it like forever and ever ago. Your like crazy spaceship crashes on a planet, and then you're the only survivor that you know of, and then you just sort of start crafting things with your little AI pal, which includes like sea bases and like different like
underwater mech suits, big submarine,
and like stuff that is you'd think you'd be like, I need to kill fish, and that's not something that comes up.
No.
It's all like, I want to shock fish so they go away from me. It's like, no, I want a really big gun to kill that really big fish. That's not, unfortunately, something that happens.
No. Explained in universe of something about like peaceful civilizations and weapon crafting is not allowed. So you have to kind of make do. It's more defensive weapons than offensive.
Yeah, like you have like a gravity well that like sucks the fish away from you, even though they really, really want to eat you.
Yeah.
And they're really good at eating you too.
Oh yeah, they're great at eating you. My most recent adventure was falling off essentially the edge of the map in a mech suit that was rated for 900 meters. I hit the seafloor at 1,300 meters, and shortly after my mech suit imploded, and I got out and was swimming, trying to hopefully make it back up to the top. 3 giant leviathans came out of the deep and proceeded to destroy me.
Reaper leviathans?
Ghost leviathans.
Ghost leviathans.
Yeah. Terrifying stuff.
Yeah.
But really enjoying that game. Super awesome. But it has definitely impacted my board game playing a little bit. What about you, Zach? Have you gotten much board gaming in?
Nope. Pretty much my life was work, Avengers, or Marvel movies, and sleep. I did play some of Slay the Spire, though, which is a deck building game. So
kind of counts. Yeah.
They released their third new character on the beta version of it, basically. And this one is more of a. So the first one is basically a warrior. The first class is a warrior class. The second one's like a rogue. This one's more like mage-ish, like more warlocky. It has like these orbs around you that do like dots to enemies or like little armor buffs for you and stuff like that. It took a little while to get used to for playing, but it's pretty enjoyable. I'm liking the new character a lot. Although it's funny because it's in beta, literally half the art on the cards are just like blur, and then it just has beta written right where the art's supposed to be, or very, very rough pieces of art too. And you're like, it's gonna look better than this, but it looks like crap now. And then you see like they don't have like some of the new enemies, they're just standing there because usually they're moving. They have some sort of animation to them. 1 or 2 of them are just like frozen in time, and then they just attack. But it's still enjoying the hell out of that game.
I've heard it's real good.
You've played it.
I mean, yeah, about one time.
Way to be, Jeff. Well, I think that pretty much covers what we've been up to and what we've been playing, or rather not playing. Sorry that a couple of these have been kind of short lately. Between Jeff losing his apartment, me starting a new job, and Zach's Ultra Marvel Marathon. Life has been crazy for us. So we'll be getting back around to it, though, and having a whole lot more games to talk about.
Now that I'll most likely be living even farther away from most other people.
But I'm pretty sure the time I spent watching Marvel movies will now be spent playing God of War. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
I did play a little bit of God of War. I've had it for like a week and a half now. I bought it last Sunday.
Yeah.
And I've not played very much of it. I just have not had time. It's hard. It's a hard game.
Yes, it is. I have it. It's a pretty game. I have HDR, even though like my TV has HDR, but it's a regular PS4 and it still works fine.
Yeah.
Like
frame rate's bad even on 1080, so
mm-hmm.
it's only like 30 frames.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
It's not hitting 60 frames.
No, it's not going to. You have to have the Pro for that.
I don't think it. Well, it certainly doesn't hit 60 at 4K.
No, it's you choose 60 or 4K.
Yeah, meh. Still, it's fine. I don't give a shit about 60 versus 30.
Yeah, no, I don't care either.
Yeah, still good.
I don't expect.
I played PUBG at 21 frames a second. So
right? Yeah.
Until I learned how to turn like literally everything off. Until they optimized it.
Yep.
So I should actually take those settings off at this point. Maybe I could. I haven't played that game on anything but like ultra max low, like custom I&I
Mhm.
shit
Right.
since it came out. So I have no idea what that game actually looks
Right.
like.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I got-
But that's
got
because you
nothing.
haven't played the game.
Well, you
Exactly.
shouldn't, because that means we have to stop,
Yeah.
Correct.
as is tradition.
Yeah.
Yes.
We haven't played in a while. Have you been thinking about buying it? Is that why we haven't been playing it in a while, Jeff?
Probably. Because
That must
I
be
noticed you guys talked me into buying Ghost Recon.
You haven't
and
asked. Like
I have to. I have to.
I mean-
back when I first bought it.
Yeah, but we were busy doing other. It was a very specific thing that was going on. Like it was a PUBG event or something like that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Anyhow, enough with all that banter about things that aren't board games, since this is a board gaming podcast. And we can move on. Because, Jeff, there's no Bloody Minute, correct?
No, but I can talk about a little bit of what went on this weekend.
Oh, yes, because there was a big tournament in Salt Lake that unfortunately you were unable to attend.
Indeed. The Rocky Mountain Rampage. It was a Blood Bowl tournament with like 31, 32 coaches. Ant and Paul, Bullshit Paul, both went to Salt Lake City to play in this tournament. Rich, another guy from our league, also drove up there for the tournament. I don't think Paul did very well. He didn't really go over details. I think he ended up like 1-4 or 1-3 with his. I think he was playing Dark Elves, and Ant was playing Norse. Ant is very good with Norse and has been very good with Norse for a very long time.
Correct.
Because Ant in general is really good with like starter teams or very low like gold cost, like that kind of beginning like 1 to 200,000 in skill points and stuff like that. And that's usually where tournaments sit for your gold cost. So he's really good at those. He ended up going 3-1 with his Norse. He was talking about how he was able to get some of his games complete in under an hour, like 56 minutes for an entire Blood Bowl game, which is insane. I can only assume it was because he was smashing the other player into the ground. And the turns were going by so fast,
Right.
Because
Ant knew what he wanted to do, and the other guy was like, "I have 2 guys, so
and I do what I do with those
Yeah.
2 guys." Ant ended up winning the whole thing. First place, champion of Rocky Mountain Rampage with his Norse. And I was talking to him today a little bit, and I think he is going to be ranked either, I think he was saying like number 4 or number 2 in the country for Norse players,
Nice.
which is impressive.
Yeah.
Like worldwide rankings I was talking to him just for a second about worldwide rankings. Those are too hard because you have to go to like international tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, that
which
makes
is
sense.
Too much of a pain in the ass. Ant also played he's in 2 leagues. He runs our league, and then he was doing a like Parker league that he was just running rampant in. I think he was undefeated the whole season. He was playing his championship game at the Alamo during our game day. Ended up winning that 2-0. It was Norse on Norse. His opponent had just taken some bad casualties in the previous game, lost his Yeti. And then Ant killed a guy, minus strengthed a guy, minus armored a guy, and then badly hurt another one. So Ant basically retired 3 more from that guy's team.
Wow.
Yeah. He fucking just stomped him right into the ground.
Yeah, I was talking to him after that game, and he said when he sat down and saw the other guy's roster, he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
This is gonna hurt."
Yeah.
The guy was like, "Oh yeah, no, I know. It's cool. let's get it over with."
Yep.
And so he said they still had fun with it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll be playing Thursday in my next league match against the Chaos Pact, against Andrew, and we'll see how that goes, especially because he wants to play at like noon on a work day.
Really?
It's like his only day off, and he's like, "Can you play in the morning?" And I was like, "I can play at work at noon, I guess."
Take an extended lunch, basically.
Well, I'll clock out.
Right.
And, yeah, just be in the tap room and play. Yeah.
I wish you were playing a little bit more in the afternoon so I could come and like actually just get a beer and then watch you
Yeah.
play for a bit.
Yeah.
But
with me moving this week, I was like, when can you play? And he's like, I can play Thursday, and that's it.
right on. So next week we'll have an update on the Bloody Minute.
Yeah.
The continuing saga.
It'll be my first time playing against Chaos Pact. Second time playing against Chaos Pact. I got the shit kicked out of me in the first round of last year's championships on some crazy dice rolls from another player.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, that definitely wraps up Banter, and we can move on to some news and Kickstarters, yeah?
Indeed. First up in news, Renegade Games has announced they're going to publish the new edition, new version, new something of Arboretum.
Yes. Full new edition with
New edition.
Yeah, with new art from Beth Sobel, and
How does
Yeah.
she make so much art?
I don't know. She's clearly passionate about it. She's clearly very good at it.
She's clearly everywhere.
Yes. But yeah, originally Arboretum was published in 2015. It's been very popular. I think some people recently recommended it to us when we did one of our bigger like review smash up
Yeah, I think so.
episodes, and they were like, "Oh, you guys should cover Arboretum sometime." One of the main things they're going to change with the new art is changes to a couple of the trees to make sure that all the symbols and colors are distinct and very colorblind friendly, because that has become an increasingly
A thing you need to take. you need
something to the forefront.
keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it'll be available for a $20 MSRP in autumn of 2018. So,
Because it's mostly just a deck of cards, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Quick little game, plays about 30 minutes. So, but
Hopefully that'll help the prices on that come back down.
correct.
Because I think Amazon has that listed at about $154 for a copy.
No, thank you.
Yeah, it seems a bit much.
Pass. Next up on news, AEG is coming out with a bigger, geekier box for Smash Up, which it sounds like they've needed for a very, very long time.
Correct. They did already the big geeky box a little while back that included a new faction, the Geeks.
Yep.
And held at the time everything that was out and everything that was coming, that was about to come out. Since then, they've continued to release things to where at this point there are 12 expansions and over 50 individual factions. So
I've never played Smash Up. That sounds like a lot.
that
It
is
is
a
a
lot. Especially considering, like, I know even just in the base game, there was definitely some pairs of things that were ridiculously powerful if you paired them up. I'm curious how they've kept the balance going. I haven't played after like the first 3 or 4 expansions. I've kind of fallen off that train.
I feel like, yeah, I also haven't played it in forever, but I feel like they weren't the most they weren't like meticulously balanced.
No, definitely not.
I never got on that train.
Yeah.
I really like the kind of theme behind it, like the silly cards and the way they do the different factions. I really appreciate.
It just always ended up taking a lot longer, especially if you played with 4 or more people.
Yeah, which I've heard of some house rules that kind of help with that. Namely, the game calls for you to play with a number of bases equal to number of players plus 1. I've heard to do number of players minus 1 because it forces people to go more to the same bases, which means the bases turn over faster, and that's what ultimately scores points and ends the game.
Aha.
So,
But it still also just feels like there's a lot of downtime in between your turns.
there certainly can be, especially if somebody gets hands that really chain and
Yeah.
they're doing like 7, 8, 9, 10 things in a row. But yeah. So this will be a huge new box. It's going to have 4 large rows with foam blocks, so similar more to like a legendary encounters type game where they got the big long rows with the foam blocks to separate things.
Yeah.
They will have dividers for all 50 factions, and then the box itself will come with not only the Geek faction from the original Big Geeky box, but also the All-Stars faction, which was a tournament and event faction only prior to this. But yeah, it'll be around in June this year.
If you like Smash Up,
Yes,
time to get more Smash Up.
Yeah.
indeed. Big old huge box.
A bigger, huger,
Yes.
older
maybe,
box.
Maybe bigger, geekier.
No,
No,
that doesn't.
no. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not following you.
Is that like
Oh.
the Mystic Veil
Correct.
big box?
Which
Jake,
it's fucking expensive.
yeah.
It's $40.
$50.
$50?
It was $50 MSRP.
Okay.
So $40 of black and red.
Jeez.
I mean, it comes with a lot of shit. It does. It's not just a box to hold stuff.
I guess it comes with 2 more players.
2 more players and other things too.
Yeah.
Like
Expansion.
Yeah,
Expands
expansion.
more
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
But it's a really big box too. It's like I saw it and I was like, oh damn. Like I wouldn't say it's not as big as Gloomhaven, but it's
Getting there.
yeah.
Okay.
I believe the ball it's as wide as the cards are tall at the very least,
Okay.
or it's as tall as the cards are
Yeah.
tall,
Yes.
and then it's also like
A really big box.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up in news, the wide world of Kingdomino continues to expand with Age of Giants. It's an expansion for Kingdomino and Queendomino. It adds another player, but it also adds in new tiles that will add giants, which block your crowns, which are scoring tiles.
Correct. And then there's other tiles that will be in the game that allow you to move giants from your kingdom to other people's kingdom. So it adds a little bit more interaction and take that kind of...
Because there's not really any interaction
Correct.
in there at all, besides like, I'm taking this piece, and then Adrian slaps the floor and be like, I wanted that piece.
Yep. There's also going to be quests that are coming out that will, in this expansion, that will score you extra points if you build your kingdom in a certain way.
Okay.
It gives examples of like surrounding your castle in those tiles or putting those tile types in the like four corners of your kingdom.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's also going to have a distribution tower that will like hold all the tiles that you can just draw them from, which
That's nice.
looks pretty cool. I saw a picture of it somewhere on one of the things I was looking at.
Yeah, I couldn't find any pictures of that.
Yeah, that's something that I think would be handy to have, is the thing to hold it. It's on the BoardGameGeek. One of the pictures on there shows it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So if you're looking for more expansions for King and Kingdomino, the very popular game from last year.
I should own this game. Both of those games. All of these games. My style of quick, fun game.
Yeah, I can see that. I still want to try out Kingdomino, and both of them combined. Make a big old giant domino-esque board.
Good description, Zach.
Yeah.
Age of Giants will be available August 2018, so keep an eye out.
Next up in news, Gray Fox Games is announcing a new casual game imprint called Social Sloth Games. Their title says slot.
It does.
Well,
Way to go, Dice Tower.
Yeah.
Social Sloth Games, for focusing on casual games for people of all experience levels, and then also Kickstarter.
Yeah, so Gray Fox Games, our sponsor, they're adding this whole new line for their lighter, more casual games. The first up on this is going to be Creatures and Cupcakes, and it's a 2 to 4 player kind of push your luck game, designed by Daryl Andrews, who did Sagrada. And in it, you're going to take on the role of monster trainers, and you're going to be trying to train your monsters by giving them cupcakes. But if you give them too many, they get sick.
Maybe rock candy of some sort
Potentially.
for your battle pets. That was an item in Pokemon.
But yeah, so that will be coming out in Kickstarter later on here in May, and then it will be followed by Zoned Out, a tile-laying city-building game, and Gem Hens, which has no additional information other than the name Gem Hens.
Yeah. So the first 3 games of the Social Sloth, which is a very interesting logo.
I really like it. I also really like sloths, so.
Fair enough. Do you love sloths as much as...
No, he does not.
No one
Okay.
loves sloths that much.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
As Kristen Bell. That's
Kristen,
Yes.
Kristen Bell, yes.
Yes, she has cried numerous times at the mere thought of getting to meet a sloth.
Yep. And then the betrayal when she couldn't.
The betrayal's the best part.
Yes.
Like, no, there's no sloth. Yeah, Social Sloth. Next up in news, Watch It Played and BoardGameGeek are joining forces to, just put in their Watch It Playeds right on their BGG page.
Yes.
Video in betting,
Yes.
which is something that has taken place in the last 20 years, which this webpage has not.
Correct. They're just finally getting around to it.
Yes.
So I think actually the bigger news from this, especially with the Secret Cabal Kickstarter just barely funding with 3 days left to go, Rodney talked about in his announcement video of this partnership with BGG that one of the reasons he was really excited for it was that he is no longer going to be doing his support drives. So there's not going to be a Kickstarter for Watch It Played anymore. He's partnered up with BGG as working with them. He'll be doing conventions with them and working with them on a lot of things. But essentially that's going to pay his bills and provide him a steady source of income to where he won't need to do the fundraisers to continue doing Watch It Played full time, which I think is pretty great. I think it's a really natural kind of pairing. I don't personally watch Ronnie Smith's videos just because his teaching style kind of puts me to sleep.
I've personally watched him at a bar once.
Yes.
Yes.
He's super friendly.
Yeah.
I remember walking in there and I was like, man, he looks familiar. And then I just kind of wandered off. And then Zach was like, oh, it's that guy. And I was like, oh,
No, yeah, pretty much in that entire bar, Jeff was like, some of these look familiar. And I'm like, that's that person, that person, that person, that person, and that person.
That's all these people that you really should know, Jeff. You're in the industry, damn it.
It was probably refreshing to them to be like, who are you?
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think this is great for both of them. He talks in his announcement video a little bit about how he's tried for a really long time to keep his channel from being a review channel. He just presents rules and how to play a game and doesn't give reviews or thoughts or anything like that. And he was, tries to make it as accessible to everyone as possible. So he talked about like he's thought about going with sponsorships with like online game stores, but then friendly local game stores might feel like he's helping their competitors and vice versa. And he feels like now working with BGG is just one of those things where nobody gets hurt and it's best for everybody. And I can totally see that. So I'm really happy for him. Couldn't happen to a nicer Canadian.
Didn't know he was Canadian.
Yes, Rodney Smith is Canadian.
Now I know.
Which explains why he's so friendly.
Indeed.
Unlike all of us American assholes.
And also, like, all of the Canadians I know personally, they're all through World of Warcraft. They're all fucking assholes.
No.
Maybe they're not actually Canadians. Maybe they're pulling the move that I know a lot of Americans that I've met traveling do, where when they're overseas, they're like, I'm from Canada. That's why I speak English and no other language.
Yeah.
No, they're just Canadian assholes.
Fair enough. Yeah. Good for Watch It Played and BGG both. That'll be a good partnership, I'm sure.
Hopefully they can wrangle this whole video thing.
Right.
It's a new decade of learning for them.
Careful, BGG. You're dangerously close to entering the year 2000.
And that's it for news.
Indeed it is.
Which then moves us on to Kickstarters, as is tradition. First up in Kickstarter is Alhambra Designer's Edition. It's well-funded $248,000 of its $12,000 goal, 1,600 backers, and 3 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can for a unreasonable amount of different pledges, starting at $47, which is kind of like some of the expansions.
It's the base game with new artwork, basically.
Yeah.
And then a couple mini expansions, yeah.
Yeah, and then each one of the mini expansions has its own designer.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is a reprint on the 15th anniversary of the original Alhambra, which won a Spiel des Jahres. The year was released back in 2003. And overall, this Kickstarter, if you get everything, it will have all 6 of the expansions, 24 different modules, and a bunch of standalone stuff that will all kind of be put together in this new box with mega box and larger tiles that will all make it just bigger and more awesome, thus the designer's edition. They're also through the Kickstarter going to have expansions from some other famous designers like Stefan Feld and a whole bunch of others, and new box art. And it's also apparently running theme here in this news and Kickstarter. It's going to have a tile dispenser tower, just like the Giants expansion for King and Queen Domino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the broken token insert for Terraforming Mars.
Correct. Have either of you played Alhambra?
Yes.
No.
What do you think of it, Jeff?
I thought it was super cool. It's definitely a Spiel des Jahres winner. It has some cool mechanics of like laying out your castle and trying to put those pieces in the right spots and buying them in the right order. That has the cost to color cards that come out of the deck that you're trying to match the color with what you're buying. It's been a long time since I've played it. It was before I moved to Denver the first time. So, I don't particularly remember the exact mechanics besides the walls, but I do remember we played the walls wrong.
Classic Jeff, playing rules wrong.
Yep. Walls have to be bordered by other walls. You can't just put a piece on the other side of a wall.
Can't just have half a wall.
Exactly. That's exactly what we were doing.
Yeah, that's poor construction, man.
Indeed.
Jeez.
It's a poor
Yeah.
castle.
Shoddy workmanship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you're interested in getting a hold of a new fancy edition of Alhambra, now's the time over there on Kickstarter.
It'll be that version that you wish you spent the money on 5 years from now, and it's going to be like $3,000.
Right?
Yeah. Next up in Kickstarters is Homesteaders and the Homesteaders expansion. This one is just a smidge above funded, 47,000 of its $40,000 goal, 715 backers, but only about a week left to pledge this one, which you can for like $20 for the expansions, and then like $60 for like the base game, and like $75 for the whole shebang.
Yeah. So again, continuing with Alhambra tradition here, this is a new edition for the 10th anniversary of this. Homesteaders was one of Tasty Minstrel's very first published titles, and it has been out of print for a long time, and so they're bringing it back with this Kickstarter. Important note right out the gate, this is a Tasty Minstrel Games Kickstarter, so a lot of you might be like, ooh, Deluxeified. No, they're not doing Deluxeified for this one, namely because they felt that the components in the original version were high quality enough, there wasn't really room to Deluxeify them any more than they already were. And they also just felt it would be a little bit truer to
the Ye Olde West theme.
Ye Olde.
Which I always find, I just, at least for right now, in the midst of Westworld Season 2, I find it really hard to take seriously. Just because I see that and I'm like...
The Old West anymore?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
It's like, I can't murder anything here.
Yeah. I mean, they all look like robots in the picture, so...
You're a robot. You're a robot.
But yeah, so this Kickstarter for Homesteaders is going to include, like I said, the normal Homesteaders edition, but also a new expansion, Homesteaders New Beginnings, that is designed by Sean McCarthy, and will add a 5th player to the game, plus adding more auction and building tiles to give more variability, and we'll also have 25 jumbo-size resource components that count as 5 of the normal size to kind of help make sure there's enough resources with that 5th player in there. And it will also add a whole new event deck, so that each round of the game you'll draw a new card, and it'll slightly affect the game a little bit, adding even more of that variability. So, yeah, I haven't ever played Homesteaders.
It's probably because it hasn't been available.
True, yes, because I was not into board gaming 10 years ago. But looking it over here, it's got an auction mechanic that's very similar. So I love auction games. I love auction mechanics. And it's got one that's very similar to the auction and stockpile, which I really appreciate. The track where you have to just keep moving along until eventually everybody's where their bids are. And in this one, it's one less than the number of players. So somebody's always just going to have to pass and not get something. But then they instead get to spend their time working on their railroad development track, which gives them like consolation prizes, basically.
It's got a railroad in it.
Indeed.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, motherfucker.
But it also has components.
God damn it, Jeff. Just shut up right now.
Yeah. This auction does sound interesting. I do like auction games too, until a point. Like if it gets too far off from what I feel or from what I like about auction games, then it is just a hard decline. Like in Tramways.
Well, because Tramways isn't an auction game. Tramways is a game that has an auction in it.
I know.
I love Tramways' auction, though. It's brutal. It's so great.
I don't like that one at all. So
it's because you just suck at it.
No.
The auction.
No, I know what you're saying.
Itself, but
no, I got it.
Still wrong.
But yeah. So if you're interested in picking up a new, fresh copy of that long out-of-print game, Homesteaders, now's your chance over there on Kickstarter.
Get it. Next up in Kickstarters is The City of Kings, which is another expansion Kickstarter that you can fund for the original print as well. Well-funded, $342,000 of its $69,000 goal, over 2,800 backers, about 2 weeks left to go, which you can pledge, like $70-ish for just the expansion stuff. And then the base game is $81 by itself with none of the expansions. And then it's like no, that's just the deluxe edition. There's a lot of pledge levels for this.
Yes. They get way up there.
Yeah, I think it's like $150 for the old game and all the new stuff.
Yes. So City of Kings it was previously a Kickstarter. It's a fully cooperative fantasy game where you're going to take on the role of leaders in this world and defeating the armies of the bad guy, Vesh. And it plays out over a series of different stories that offer like puzzles and have optional objectives and things like that kind of based on like how long you want to play and how in depth you want to get. I didn't really remember seeing the initial Kickstarter for this, but I know Paul got a copy, and I think he's been pretty eager to actually get it played.
Yeah, he hasn't had a chance to play it yet, from what I remember,
Yeah.
but he's been wanting to.
So this Kickstarter, you can get the original with all of the original stretch goals and everything, as Jeff was saying, in one of those ridiculous pledge tiers. But the Kickstarter itself is ostensibly for the new expansion, Ancient Allies, that'll add new characters and side quests and things like that to the base game. And then they're also, and I think this is a little weird, they're just throwing in another game of theirs that's not, I think it might be in the same universe, but it's a standalone game called Vidoran Gardens, which I think it's weird when a game is like, oh, hey, here's a Kickstarter for the expansion. Oh, also, here's an entirely separate game in the same Kickstarter. It's odd.
Indeed. But the expansion adds minis because the first game was all standees.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
So the hero packs and character packs and stuff will be adding actual miniatures for your characters instead of using those standees.
Right on.
Standees look cool, though. I mean, I like standees.
Yeah, I'm fine with standees as well.
Yeah.
You know, they have the art. You don't have to paint them yourself. They look good. They match the game.
Yeah. That's why I bought the standees for the hero characters for Gloomhaven.
Right.
Oh, so finally, way down here at the bottom of the Kickstarter page, I finally found what I was looking for. The Vidoran Gardens is a card drafting tile laying game. Looking at the pictures of it, it reminds me a lot of Honshu, Zach. So it might be something that you'd be interested in.
Yeah.
And it's only like $24.
Indeed.
So yeah, that's City of Kings.
Indeed it is.
Check it out. Next up in Kickstarter is Black Rose Wars. Well-funded $391,000 of its $60,000 goal. Over 3,000 backers, but only about 2 weeks left to pledge this one, which you can for $100.
So this is kind of like just a ridiculous game overall. But the basic theme of the game, you are different mages competing to become the great archmage that like oversees all of the mages and everything. And it combines deck building with wargaming, which I think puts it just immediately right in your alley there, Jeff.
Go on.
And so yeah, you're all mages of the Black Rose Order, and you're going to be building these decks of spell cards, making grimoires, and fighting through different missions, and like fighting each other, and just doing all kinds of shit. That, like I said, this game looks thoroughly ridiculous. It's kind of hard to sift through all of the stuff they have here.
Kind of reminds me of a board layout from like Betrayal.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Comes with a whole shit ton of ridiculous minis, tons of decks of cards, different types of spells like void spells, enchantment spells, demonology spells, chronomancy spells. And so you're going to use these all to build your own unique kind of deck of different cards. And yeah, just a bunch of crazy, ridiculous stuff. Minis for all the different monsters you can summon that are crazy. Like some of them are like big demons, and others are like skeleton warriors and gargoyles and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, real cool.
Yeah, it looks real cool, as well as like the Chrono Mini.
Yeah, the thing is just gigantic.
It's a 145 millimeter miniature.
That's 14.5 centimeters.
Oh, geez.
That's 0.145 meters.
Thanks for doing the math there, Zach.
Yeah.
It's almost over a tenth of a meter,
Yeah, it's true.
which makes it roughly a tenth of a yard.
I like how we're using yards to measure this miniature.
It's not a miniature anymore.
Yeah,
No.
it's
So
Definitely
it's a
not.
max, sure.
I
I think there's a word for that.
I do not know.
So yeah, that's
I think just statue.
it's a small statue.
Yeah.
That's Black Rose Wars.
Yes.
Take a look. And then last up in Kickstarters this week is Hellboy, the board game. Extremely well funded, $1.2 million on its $138,000 goal. Over 9,800 backers with 3 weeks left to go on this one, and you can pledge this one for a mere $131.
So we talked about this a while ago in a news segment when they were kind of announcing that there was a new Hellboy game coming. I remember because I remember the distinctly awkwardly scrawny Hellboy that they used in some of the artwork, which is still here a little bit in some places, but they do also have the ridiculously huge jacked Hellboy that is more what I think of when I think of Hellboy.
Well, if you're complaining about the original comic book art being the scrawny Hellboy, you can just go right and fuck yourself.
I'm just saying it's not what I imagined from Hellboy.
Well, then you haven't read all the goddamn Hellboy comic books, have you?
You're correct. I haven't read any of them. I've only seen the movies.
They're good movies, but fuck you.
But yeah, so now that Hellboy game that we talked about is finally out here on Kickstarter with a bunch of cool minis, crazy art for the like board that you'll be playing on.
And it's all in the style of the comic books, which is awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate that.
Everything
As someone who's never read a comic book,
Well, no, that I can appreciate that it's like I've read comic books and I can tell that the art style is very reminiscent of like it's a good art style. I like the art style. I appreciate that they have a good art style and apparently it matches the comic books.
Yes.
Jeez, I can appreciate it without having read the comics.
It looks like it's straight out of the comics. The minis, not as much from what I can tell. They might be, but I mean, it's always hard taking a 2D comic and turning it into a 3D model, especially because they're not painted.
True.
The specific color schemes and such of the Hellboy comics kind of would be interesting to paint these with.
Yeah. But it's got just a shit ton of different minis, Nazi troopers, a big, huge worm, all kinds of ridiculous things, a unique alternative Hellboy. What?
So one of the stretch goals that's added is a classic Hellboy moment. The mini has no name. It's just called "He's Got a Gun."
nice.
And it's a monkey that ends up getting a gun.
Okay,
And it's just Hellboy screaming, "He's got a gun!"
nice.
They have a Kickstarter exclusive for an alternate Hellboy with his full horns. They've got one of him as a little kid eating pancakes. Yeah, a bunch of crazy stuff.
I just want everyone to read this panel because it's the joke.
Right.
Is that a monkey? Does he have a gun?
Which they have some really good pictures later down. Like as you scroll down the page, they have some minis that have been clearly very professionally painted, and they did a good job with the shading and stuff, and really bringing out those shadows. A bunch of ridiculous minis in this Kickstarter, and if you're into Hellboy stuff, then might just be for you. So go check it out.
I'm just looking at all the minis now. And that's it for Kickstarters this week. Still plenty more coming out in the future, I'm sure.
Yep. Right on. That wraps up all of the news and Kickstarter stuff. So we can move on here to listener feedback, and we've got a decent amount of it. We'll start off here with Jeff's favorite part of the episode, and that is
emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email. First up in emails is from Hater himself, Andrew, titled Primetime, Baby. I should mention, if people can think back to the time we were talking about that Kitchen Rush Kickstarter.
yes,
And Adrian thought there was a 5-foot tall kitchen timer in there.
Mhm.
yes,
This is what Andrew is referencing about.
yes, because I misunderstood the use of the
Apostrophe.
apostrophe and quotation marks and how they related to size versus time.
Yep.
Indeed. It's lucky for you that you guys get confused by such interesting things.
I was almost expecting him to say confused by such easy things or something like that.
Yes.
Such simple things.
Also that, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's also interesting.
Yeah. They can all simple things can also be interesting. You are
Indeed.
correct.
The prime symbol, also known as the apostrophe in everyone's brains currently, I don't know, the symbol you would use for like 5 feet tall, has been used for centuries to mean the main smaller unit of some measurement, like feet as opposed to miles, which aren't marked, or minutes as opposed to hours. The first derivative as opposed to the function, arc minutes as opposed to degrees, etc. Similarly, the double prime symbol, which would be like for inches, gets used for inches, seconds, and second derivative, etc. Being the cultured people you are, you're probably familiar with 4:33, 4 minutes 33 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important works of music in the 20th century. Over 4 minutes and 33 seconds, the composer John Cage instructs the musicians not to play anything. It directly challenges the definition of music. Fun, right? Anyway, back to the interesting stuff. The word minute literally comes from the fact that it's smaller than the hour. The minute is the minute part of an hour. I assume that's how that's supposed to go.
Yeah.
The English language, hooray!
Yeah.
Yes.
But the minute part of the minute can't just be called a minute because that's already taken. So it was called the second minute and eventually just called a second. So that's why you've got the words minutes and seconds. This has been your history correspondent, The Hater, reporting for MHGG News, signing off.
There we go.
Indeed. So
now-
thank you for that, Andrew.
Yeah, it was fun trying to figure out where minute and minute came in there.
Yes. This would have been on last week's episode because he sent it on Monday, which is our normal recording, but we tricked everybody. We zigged instead of zagged and did our recording on Sunday.
I had a concert to go to.
Yes.
It was totally worth it. Carpenter Brute's fucking awesome. Next email. This one is from Lance. Hanabi card symbols. R&R, I assume that's the publisher.
Correct.
I don't know if it stands for anything.
No,
or if it's just R&R.
No, I just like you asked that because then it says for publishing.
I know, but it's like, is there an actual name or is it just shorthand?
I think it's just R&R.
Okay. R&R has the US/English rights for publishing. I do not know, but I think the symbols on the cards are Japanese language, maybe, probably. The German licensee, Abacus Spiel, has different symbols, but in my opinion, more clear in low light and from distance. They are effectively a square, triangle, circle, X, N, and asterisk for the 6-color or the rainbow. That seems nice.
Yeah. I thought the only different symbols were just different types of fireworks.
I don't know.
Adrian, go get your copy real quick.
What do you mean? They are only different types of fireworks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the German version might be
They have actual
better.
symbols.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
which would be nice.
Yeah.
I only know the following from articles, emails, and pictures, not personal experience. Additionally, Abacus Spiel printed larger size cards in a package that has card holders. This version even has larger sized tokens for the time and explosion countdown, larger than a US quarter if memory holds. Then they even went bigger and printed another version with the same larger cards, the same card holders, but provided 100+ chits to be more memory friendly. Interesting.
Weird.
You no longer have to remember everything, but you can mark your cards with chits. That seems like cheating.
Yeah.
These chits were back to the smaller sizes, but still pretty interesting. Of course, all other versions of Hanabi are going to be more costly than the simple small box of normal cards.
I still want to try the deluxe one that has those
The
tiles.
yeah.
The only way I could see those little chits working is if they weren't like colors and numbers. So you couldn't just immediately be like, oh, he said these are 4s. Let me put 4s behind all these. If they were like 5 different like
symbols
or something, and you had to assign symbols to your own meaning and like still keep track of what that meant, so you could still have room for that. Like, oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah.
It's weird that it would come with like 100+ of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, I mean, if you're
That's
playing
cool,
a
though.
5-player game,
Yeah.
having 20 per player, 5 cards, you could have up to 4 different things. Although I don't know why you'd need 4 for a card. Yeah.
Maybe we'll look it up. See what the hell that is.
Indeed.
Thanks in advance. Ciao.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Indeed.
We always like information
We do.
because we clearly do not provide any.
Indeed.
We'll just suck that information right out
Yep.
of you like bone marrow.
Mhm. This is our information now.
Yes. This is ours. Next email comes from Craig, titled Tabletop Day. Hey, MHG guys.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's like I always like to say WT fuck.
Yeah. I went to Tabletop Day over the weekend at Steamworks Coffee in Lockport, New York, and I had so much fun. I don't get to too many board game nights because of my job, but I took the day off for this, and I'm glad I did. So many board games were played. We played a game of Captain Sonar that I taught to 7 people, you poor thing, that had never heard of it.
You poor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was delightful chaos. I assume you were doing turn-based. If you were teaching people real-time, that would be interesting.
Well, I mean, it still could be delightful chaos.
Yeah, that's very true. There were a few rounds of Azul going on, people playing Yokohama and CO2, a lot of games I don't remember, and we finished the night with a couple rounds of Tortuga 1667, a game I got off Kickstarter last year but hadn't played yet, and that was a hit too. I have not heard of Tortuga.
I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
we talked about it.
I feel like I've played it at one point.
It has different pirate ships, and there's like the French, English.
Okay.
Yeah, and you like move between them
Yeah.
and the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely played that. It is a fun game.
Anyway, I know you guys and probably a lot of your listeners get to go to game nights all the time, but I just had to share my excitement at getting to join in on the fun. Thanks for the show and keep up the good work. Craig in Buffalo.
Well, you're very welcome, Craig.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had a good time.
Is this,
Yeah.
is this our first known New York listener?
I mean, Craig's been a listener for a while. I think he's communicated with us in the
Has
past,
he?
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't know he
I'm
was from New York.
pretty sure. Yeah, I don't think I knew he was from New York.
Well, now we know where you live.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. It's a shame we didn't get, none of us actually got to do Tabletop
Yep.
Day.
Our plans for Tabletop Day completely collapsed. I have been trying for the last 3 weeks, sort of, week and a half, earnestly to find a place. And of all the places that I have contacts with in the local area for events, I tried 8 different places, and they all were either already booked with other events or are just way too busy on a Saturday, and we weren't able to get anything together. And so then I was like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm just going to play Subnautica all day.
Yeah, I got endless pierogies, mimosas.
Endless pierogies?
Yeah.
Why wasn't this
It was-
earlier?
It was
That sounds dangerous.
yeah, right?
It sounds wonderful.
Oh, it was.
Oh, yeah, no,
it was great.
I'm really jealous.
I mean, Julie and Nick posted on it on Facebook. So,
Okay. Maybe I saw that.
I
at
didn't
some
see
point.
it.
And because we were the first people there, we got a free pitcher of mimosas.
All right.
Good God.
It was a lot of fun, but afterwards I was like, I just wanted to sleep so bad.
It was nap time.
Yeah, but I didn't get to sleep. That was rough. I had to watch those fucking Marvel movies.
I gotta watch movies. Why am I filled with orange juice, champagne, and pierogi?
At that point, I was at Doctor Strange, and I legitimately had to move. I'd go 20 minutes back into it because I had fallen asleep to it. I was like, God damn it!
No. I watched Doctor Strange the other day. I've come to barter or yeah,
Bargain.
bargain. Yes, I just watched that part.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
it's a great thing.
I think I saw a meme on the internet. And
Gotcha.
was like, I want to watch that part again.
Mm-hmm.
So that concludes all of the emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
And now we'll move on over to BGG, where we have some responses to last week's review of cooperative card placement games.
All right, so this first one is from Paulo. Well, it looks like you'll be talking about 2 pretty shitty games and 1 awesome game. The 2 shitty ones are obviously the game, so much meh on this one, and Hanabi, the cheaters game. I really don't like either of these games. The game has been completely killed by the mind
Correct.
that took the base mechanic of the game of playing cards in order and transformed it into a fantastic game, full of guessing and double guessing, full of tense moments, and full of getting up off the chair and cheering moments. The Mind is an amazing game. The game is not. Regarding Hanabi, it bothers me the theme, or rather the lack of it, and it's also cheater's paradise. For people that like Hanabi or the idea of Hanabi, I recommend playing Beyond Baker Street. I recommend playing Beyond Baker Street.
Beyond.
It's what Hanabi should have been all along. It has a good theme. It has the cool mechanic of Hanabi of not knowing your cards and knowing the other player's cards. Giving and getting clues and playing cards with the information you get. But it also has player powers. It has a campaign system. You can tailor the difficulty of the game to the experience of the players playing it. So if you haven't, go check out Beyond Baker Street, whether you like Hanabi or not. I don't like Hanabi, and I love Beyond Baker Street. It is a great improvement on the Hanabi mechanic.
Do more people cheat at Hanabi, or are we just not assholes?
I don't get that. Like yes, you can cheat at. I mean, you can cheat at every game. like you can cheat at terraforming Mars and give yourself more money, you know, and
Mhm.
like if you're gonna cheat, you can cheat. At cooperative games, you can cheat, you know, and we saw that an epidemic's upcoming in pandemic. We better get over to these cities. Like, yeah, I mean,
I do like that Love Letter says like if you're playing someone that would cheat, just don't play games with them.
and exactly, like,
yeah.
you know, if you're having problems with people cheating in Hanabi, that's an issue with the players, not an issue with the game. I have heard really good things of Beyond Baker Street. I do really want to try it out.
Doesn't Ant have Beyond Baker Street?
I don't know. I know he has Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. I don't know if that's what you're thinking of.
No.
Okay.
I feel like he bought it at Gen Con, and I feel like he didn't like it.
I think he didn't like it as much. He felt it added too much. He likes the simplicity of Hanabi, which I could totally see.
I can definitely agree that Hanabi cheating like ruins the game a lot more than it would at other games.
Yeah.
But I still think that it's just don't
cheat. Don't play with people who would cheat. I think, you know, we covered it in the episode a little bit. Like, so Paulo's message came out on Wednesday. So we'd already recorded the episode, which Paulo also, you messaged us on YouTube, and I didn't get back to you on YouTube yet. But that's why your thing wasn't read, is because you sent it 3 days after we recorded. And so this is the first time we've recorded since we saw your message, which is why we're reading it now.
Yeah.
So I think we did a good job of explaining kind of how I feel personally the mind and the game, although being very similar games, give you two very different feelings. Like the mind is the game of, like he said, we were talking about the game of hesitation. Like he said there, the guessing and double guessing, tense moments. Whereas I do really appreciate that the game is full of those, like,
it's dealing with bullshit.
Yeah, well, and you just the crushing despair when you play a card, the person who's next in turn order goes, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, now you can't play the easy card, then they have to play the hard card, and it just I feel like they're two distinct enough games.
Correct.
This next one is from Ambi from Board Game Blitz. I've played and enjoyed all three of these games, but lately I've been enamored with the mind. What makes the mind different from the other two is that there's no luck in the card draw in determining whether or not you can win. In both Hanabi and the game, if you have a bad draw, then it's possible that there's no chance of winning at all. By winning Hanabi, I mean getting the full score. You can always win in the mind, since the specific cards don't matter, just a relative order compared to what's drawn. And even with that, it's the hardest to win. My win percentage is the lowest in the mind. Although in Hanabi, anything that's not a bomb is a quote-unquote win. I've played Hanabi about 120 times, and the mind and game about 20 times each. I have the deluxe version of Hanabi, which I like playing with a lot better than the card version. I find having tiles that you can arrange on the table helps with memory.
I can see that. I do really want to try the tile version. We mentioned that earlier too with that email. And
it's totally true. You can just have shit hands in Hanabi or shit hands in the game. And
these are all fives.
Yeah.
All five of your cards. There are five.
Yeah. Jesus. So I agree really with everything that Ambi's saying there. The only thing that I have to chime in on that is when I log Hanabi, I think we set the cutoff at, because 30 is the max when you play with the wild. You get all five, you can get 30. I think that Ant and I play where you have to score at least 20, 22 maybe, somewhere in the low 20s is like the minimum for calling it a win. Otherwise, I log it as a loss.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Which means my Hanabi win percentage is not nearly as good as anybody who counts anything other than a bomb a victory.
Yeah. The next one is from Mike. And he says, I feel the mind has the biggest gap in my excitement from when I heard the explanation to when I saw it being played. When I heard the rules, I wrote it off thinking that it couldn't be any fun. Then I watched a playthrough from BGG Game Night and immediately went to track down a copy. I ordered one from Amazon.de, and with shipping, it was under $15. It took a few weeks to get here, but I am excited to have it, and I imagine it will get a ton of play.
I think a bunch of people just did like 3 or 4 copies.
Yep. Andrew, the hater, put together a big group buy because he made his bootleg copy, and the life of crime, he couldn't handle it, so he had to go legit.
Yeah. He was just sweating every time he brought out those 2 deck of cards.
He's looking over his shoulder.
And you're like, they're going to catch it.
So there's a big group buy. I didn't go in on it because there's enough people that own it in my group that I'm not really concerned about it.
I didn't go into it because I didn't go for it because I have the game, and if I really need to play it, I can just use it with that.
Yes, which we did on Sunday.
Yes, we did.
For several rounds. Yeah. So
until Adrian just plays the 5, like you think it's the fucking first card.
Yeah, he was just like slamming on that 5 like no one's business.
You were way too slow for having the 3s and 4s. I'm just
I had
saying.
the card literally out in front where our hands were, and then you slammed it down
No.
without me being able to pick it up and put it down.
It's not what happened. It's not.
It's what happened.
Yeah, that wraps up the listener feedback portion of the show. And yeah, thanks everybody for chiming in on the BGG thread and for sending in emails. We did have one awesome new individual, Rob, who decided to pledge $2 for us over on our Patreon, patreon.com/milehighgameguys, narrowly avoiding a vicious debasing by Jeff.
You're lucky. You're lucky you had $2 to rub together.
So thank you, Rob. We really do appreciate the support. And
Yes, we
thank
do.
you to everyone else who is backers of ours over there on Patreon. Y'all rock.
Yes. Thank you for rocking.
Correct. If you would like to get in touch with us, you can do it through the aforementioned email address.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can go join our guild number 2731, and see posts up for all of our review and discussion episodes. So you can chime in with your thoughts and feelings and your thoughts about your feelings and all of that fancy stuff.
Or just hide them inside like the rest of us.
Yeah, drink
Yeah.
them away.
Yeah.
You can find us on Twitter. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I'm Jeff_MHGG.
And we have a Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys on both of those. So plenty of ways to get in touch with us if you feel so inclined. If you're going to be at Geekway in a little over 2 weeks, we will be there. All 3 of us.
Yes.
Fuck, it is 2 weeks.
Yeah,
away.
it's just a
damn.
little over 2 weeks
That
away.
would be May 17th through May 20th.
Yes, we will be there in St. Louis, playing board games, drinking, hanging out, having a good time,
Drinking.
drinking, and probably also drinking, eating hot Nashville fried chicken, eating barbecue,
Okay.
a whole bunch of fun things.
I've not really spent time in St. Louis at all. So,
It's a cool town.
yeah. As
like-
an adult, at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. You definitely need to be an adult to properly enjoy St.
Yeah.
Louis. Well, I don't know. They got some cool zoo and museum and stuff that's free.
I've
And
heard there's a city museum.
Yeah, the
Okay.
city museum's pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in St. Louis. I really like St. Louis as a place to visit. I would not want to live there.
Fair enough.
But anyway, we will be there in 2 weeks. So if you're going to be at Geekway, be sure to get in touch with us. Let us know, and maybe we can meet up and play a game, or just shoot the shit, have a beer, whatever.
We can hand you dice.
Yes, we have some dice still. But yeah. Other than that, it's been another fun episode. Be sure to tune in on Friday, where we will be reviewing Euphoria from Stonemaier Games, one of the first games from Stonemaier that really kind of put them on the map.
Euphoria builds a better dystopia.
Yes, sorry, full titles are
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out that review, and hopefully y'all enjoy it. Also want to wrap up here, giving a big, huge thanks to our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. They have a new game out, Rising 5 Runes of Asteros, which is a cooperative deduction game for 1 to 5 players that works with a digital app. You're all going to be members of a team of agents that are working together to decode a set of ruins and lock away evil forces and save the planet of Asteros, all while fighting monsters and working together using unique powers. It plays about 30 minutes, supposedly. So,
And it has art by the great Vincent Dutrait.
yes, I know you're a big fan of his art.
Yes, yeah.
So, and has already won the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence. So,
Oh, nice.
that's available now on grayfoxgames.com. So go check it out if that sounds interesting to you.
I always like short games.
Indeed.
Not enough short games.
No.
I have to play Adrian's long, boring shit all the time.
We haven't reviewed a good heavy game in so long, I'm losing my fucking mind. Like, we're doing tramways here this cycle, and I'm so excited to finally get a heavy game back on the show. Like, the last one we covered was Lisboa, like, back shortly after frickin' Gen Con.
We just didn't forgive you for Lisboa, so.
Yep.
Yeah, clearly.
Never again.
Jerks. But yeah, so huge thanks again to our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement
Indeed.
for this spot?
Gray Fox Games. Quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, good. Now we can fight as warriors. Hand to hand is the basis of all combat. Only a fool trusts his life to a weapon.
Love the Gray Fox quotes.
Indeed.
There.
Don't name your company after one of my favorite video game series next time, huh?
Unless you want to get quoted in the episode, which,
Indeed.
I mean, all good. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm moving Jeff.
Bye.
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 Then I watched the playthrough from BGG Game Night and immediately went down to track a copy. And immediately went to track down a copy.
That's the order the words are in.
One more time there.
Yeah. And immediately went to track. God damn it. All right. It took a few words.